Hey everybody, and welcome to Game 2 of Serial Killers versus Heterosexual Men. Uh, as we saw in the first game, the serial killers they took had an early push lineup that managed to just kind of snowball, and there wasn't a lot heterosexual men could do. They fell a little behind in the laning stage, and then once serial killers started to push, they just couldn't repel them very much. And well, it was a good game, lots of good fights, and it was fun to watch. It was kind of after early on it felt a little lopsided. So let's hear and hope HSM can put up a good show and hopefully take a win here. They do ban the Death Prophet, which was a big problem for them in the first game. I think that was probably the biggest problem they had was dealing with her. They didn't rotate and gank her up early in the mid lane at all, and they couldn't quite get her under control when she started to snowball, which is too bad. And on the side of CK, they do ban the Enchantress, which I think is a good call. The Enchantress pick worked out well late. She was doing a lot of the damage in the later part of the game, and it was it was tough for them to deal with him as well. But some quick picks coming out from both teams. HSM, they do go for the Vengeful Spirit, which I'm a huge fan of that hero. I think she's very good in almost all lineups and situations. I'm kind of a fanboy of the hero. Magic Missile is an excellent stun. She does have an excellent debuff and buff, and her late game being able to position people, get people out so far out of position, gives her a lot of the same abilities as Bat Rider. Maybe not quite as much damage, but very similar. And she brings other stuff to the table that Bat doesn't, such as buffing up her allies and right clickers. On the side of CK, they do go for a Keeper of the Light and a Warlock, which I think they might be looking for some Illuminate Fatal Bonds action here, as Fatal Bonds does transfer 25% of all damage taken to other heroes. As well as Keeper of the Light just allows some heroes to be able to split push very effectively. You could see a anti-mage pickup from CK here, and he could be out farming a lane, and then the rest of his team's pushing top, doesn't need much to travel, they have a keeper, or some other hero like that. And so they could it's kind of like having a Spectre without having a Spectre, if that makes sense. You can have a different carry, but do very similar things as the Spectre. Just be off farming away and haunt back in, or even if you die, buy back and get Illuminate called back in. The Warlock is just an excellent support all around. I wonder if they'll run him as a core in the mid roll. Seen that a few times, and it can be very effective. Usually, if you do that, you go for a max Shadow Word and Upheaval build, and then once you rotate to a lane, you can run in, drop the Chaotic Offering and the Upheaval Shadow Word on a hero, and can do a lot of damage very early. Um, Now we do have another Wraith King picked up from HSM, and I think that support worked out very well for him. That having the early solid stun was really helped them get some of the kills that they were able to pick up earlier, and then having the reincarnate made him very effective in the late. He does scale very well, and if given enough farm, can transition into a bit of a right clicker. Bristleback picked up by CK, and I like this hero. It's I think it's a little underutilized. I mean, he does fall off late. He's kind of a before 40-minute kind of hero. But I mean, with farm, anybody can scale fairly late. Like if he gets picks up a Assault Cuirass and a Vlad's, maybe we'll see a Crimson Guard built on him early, which is, I think, a very effective item as well. But coupled with the Keeper of the Light's Mana Leak, as well as Chakram Magic, the Bristleback will be able to chase down any hero with his Goo and Quill Spray and just take them down. Not to mention, if Warlock gets off a solid upheaval on three or four heroes, Bristleback can just run around in the middle, gooing, spraying, and just all in all, just causing a lot of damage to them. And so they might look doing that. It'll probably be a solo offlane Bristleback as well. Warlock in the mid lane, Coddle safe lane support. Yeah, that's definitely a core warlock coming out from them. Slardar, they do pick up a Slardar, which I think is a good hero to help deal with the Bristleback, as the amount of physical damage that can be added from the Slardar is quite immense. Another thing that might be interesting is level 1 Roshan could happen here. Um, they've got the Venge who can get a Wave of Terror, Wraith King can go Vampiric Aura, and the Slardar can pick up Slithering Crush or Bash. I think he'd probably be better off with the Crush than the Bash, but kind of eh. Medusa is just kind of another hero to throw in there, but between the Wave of Terror debuff and the Vampiric Aura, it could definitely be an interesting choice. Some bans coming out is they do ban the Axe, which I think is fine. Another jungle hero that they don't want to deal with. They do ban the Troll Warlord, which, oh, good call, HSM. I like the anti-mage ban. And the Silencer as well can really mess with their team. They do go with the PA, fills very similar role as the anti-mage. And an Ember Spirit comes out from HSM, so a very different draft. Only overlap hero I believe is the Wraith King. So we get to see everybody on some different heroes, which I think is always a lot of fun. And we do manage to pick up that. So introducing HSM, we've got Vanessa Van Cleve on the Ember Spirit, Booty's Dank on the Slardar, and Encore on the Medusa. We do have Super Juice Box on the Venge, and Long Dawn Dingles again on the Wraith King. On the side of Serial Killers, Captain Crunch is on that Warlock. We do have Tricks on the Bristleback, Cornflake on the Keeper of the Light, Fruit Loops on the PA, and Bane being handled by Raisin Bran. And the level 1, let's see if any of these guys go for any sort of an early engagement. Warlock is running down, going to get an early ward out, as is Super Juice Box, so they might bump into each other here, maybe around the rune spawn. And we'll have to see what if anything interesting happens. Yeah, okay, so Super Juice Box saw that, and I imagine we'll see a D ward come out eventually, or at least they'll know that if they try and gank the lane, they're gonna know where they are. Now both teams are gonna know that there's an obs ward there. Top lane, Fruit Loops is waiting for that rune, and Booty Stank is here. Now, I think the Slardar is a good hero up against PA. Oh, does get a bash in. Is he gonna go for a crush? Oh, decides not to bother using the mana, which I don't think is that big of a deal. Oh, Wraith King stun out onto Captain Crunch. He does have the heal on. Are they gonna be able to finish him off? No, they decide not to dive under the tower, which I think is probably a good call. So both stuns showing again, and I think I really like these dual supports coming out on the sides of HSM. They both have really solid stuns, and no one on the other team has anything that can dodge a projectile very well. And then Encore and the Medusa can farm, and we'll give them that late game that they need. Also, Ember Spirit, another hero that can farm early, or sorry, can be very effective early, but still provide a lot in the late game. But an interesting lineup is we do have the Bane being run mid, which is not something you see very often. I think it would have been better to maybe put the Warlock there, but we'll see how this goes. Lots of pings coming out bottom. We will see the Bane get lots of early levels in Brain Sap and get a very early Bane's Grip as well. So when the Bane decides to rotate, they can hopefully easily find some pickoffs as well. With the Nightmare and the pickoff. Up top, we just have two melee heroes just farming up against each other, and I'm not sure who really wins in this matchup. I think it'll be PA unless it's due to the way PA is designed with the dagger and a little more harass. But not so much. Again, we see a lot of early aggression coming out on the side of serial killers. They do go for some early tower. Tricks with no points and Bristleback's taking a lot of damage from the tower. But the amount of sustain that this lane has is absolutely ridiculous. The Warlock with the Shadow Word
and the Coddle with the Chakra Magic just means it so they never run out of health or mana. Cornflake is going to rotate and get the Bounty Rune. Ember Spirit is getting close to his bottle, only one last hit away. He's going to pick up an Illusion Rune. Fuji's Stank is farming up the top lane, but again, that Dagger Harass, I think that's probably going to win Phantom Assassin the lane here. Fruit Loops will be able to farm fairly well. On the side, it's Encore is just not able to step up and get any sort of last hits at all. I mean, I say that as Encore is leading the last hit charts with 10, but she's getting easily zoned out by these heroes. Because as good as Shadow Word is at healing, it's equally as good at damaging. Oh, that's a lot of damage all at once. And so the harass begins. Up top, PA is still farming well. It is out farming Booty Shank. In the mid lane, we do have Vanessa Van Cleve is able to zone out the Bane, which is not surprising at all. And I think we'll have to keep an eye on this as once Van Cleve gets, Vanessa Van Cleavage, excellent choice of name, gets some more levels up, could see an easy solo kill coming out of the mid lane. But, no, this tri-lane coming out from HSM is just so scared. I almost wonder if, with the Medusa playing so far back and the supports playing so far back, if they wouldn't be able to smoke and rotate onto a different lane. Because this tower is just going to slowly get chipped down, just like it did in the other game. Not a lot I can do. As good as Harass as Mystic Snake is, it's not going to force any of these heroes out of the lane at all. They're just going to keep up the pressure and keep pushing into this. Super Juice Max does finally have a pair of sentries and is going to manage to get this dewarded. Ember Spirit is doing very well, and I think the Ember Spirit will have to come down here and maybe rotate onto this and make something happen here. Just go for the value point in Sleight of Fist, which I think is good. But it's going to have to get at least one more point into Searing Chains to have some solid lockdown. Mystic Snake does cancel that, and it is doing decent harass, but it's very superficial damage. Venge is just starting to stack these camps. Does have 1 point up in Vengeance, still only level 2. I think it's good that they are giving the Wraith King a little bit of in-lane farm, as he does need his reincarnate for it to be fully effective. Okay, on the top lane, just farming up against the Slardar. PA will be very happy with this matchup now, as Blades of Attack and a Ring a Bassi. Oh, sorry. And looks like we've got them going on it. Oh, the Medusa's dropping very low. You gotta turn on that mana shield, buddy. Medusa does drop down. That is your first blood. So, very unfortunate. Oh, and in the mid lane, is that a solo kill coming out from Bane? Yep. Bane with the maxed out Brain Sap and the Fiend Script does get a solo kill on the Ember Spirit, which is a big deal. And an excellent play coming out from Raisin Bran with being able to use all that mana. Now that is a lot of damage, and the Ember Spirit is not very tanky. But we'll have to see. Hopefully they do manage to come back. And he does know that everything will be on cooldown. He doesn't have a whole lot of mana. Pops a Soul Ring. We can get a Brain Sap off on something. Doesn't look like it. Invis Rune bottom, so we'll see who picks this up and if they decide to push on it at all. But again, this tri-lane just very effective. Very, very effective at forcing them back. And the harass coming out from the Medusa is decent, but as we saw before, it's not enough to stop them from pushing in. And every hit on this tower is just, it's going to bring it slower and lower and lower. Maybe we'll have to look and see if they commit when it gets very low, if they are willing to commit, or if there's a chance that HSM will manage to get the deny, which would be good.
anytime you can prevent a tri lane that's meant to take down a tower from getting that tower, I think it's a small victory like this. But mainly this is just set up to prevent the Medusa from farming. And if you look, compared to Fruit Loops, who's got 31 last hits, doing very well, Medusa's only got 20. Bristleback's got 18, which he's been a lot more aggressive. Still no points from Bristleback. The Ember Spirit does rotate in, Searing Chains on 2, and he does manage to get off his Fire Remnant. Shrix gets stunned up, and it's a quick 2-0. Excellent rotation coming out for Vanessa Van Cleavage, getting the Fire Remnant on both, and a double kill coming out for the Medusa. That is what she needed. The Medusa, who'd been very well shut down up until then, managed to get a fair bit of experience in gold coming out quickly, and is going to be very happy with that. Maybe whatever boost they decide to go for, and it looks like they want to go on the, they want to try and rotate onto the Bane eventually. Top lane starter is dropping low. He's got to be careful. If PA gets a crit dagger and a blink strike, that could easily burst him down. I think that was an excellent rotation and very much needed from the side of HSM, and we're gonna have to look to this Ember Spirit to kind of carry them through the mid game into the late game. He's gonna have to try and get some farm up early, and while he doesn't have any damage items yet, he can do a lot of damage with his spells. Did you see another teleport coming bottom? Booty Stank comes down, does have the his ulti on, sprints down, looking for the stun, does get the crush on Cornflake, but he's all alone out here. His team is thinking, we're all mostly dead, and oh, we're all mostly dead, and we've got Fatal Bonds on us, so we don't want to push into that. Booty Stank is rotating down here, but now that means that Fruit Loops in the top lane is just free to farm to his heart's content. Not even worried about it. 4 Mystic Snakes coming out. Those are a decent amount of harass. Does Ember Spirit fall again? Bane? And looks like he did. Bane, again, using that Fiend's Grip and the Brain Sap to get a solo kill on the Ember Spirit, which is... it's tough. I think these supports on the side of HSM need to rotate. They needed to move the Wraith King and the Venge onto the mid lane a lot earlier than they did. Unfortunately, they just sat back behind the Medusa, splitting the almost no experience that they were getting. And oh, sorry, wrong thing. Here level, here we go. Splitting very little experience between the three heroes, and honestly, not able to get much out of it. Eastern is spotted bottom. Oh. Good. Ember Spirit is going top, but I don't think he's going to have much of a better chance. Oh. Remnants forward, does manage to get the change, and is going down, but Fruit Loops is thinking, this is an easy kill. This is fantastic. No teleports coming out top, but... and Fruit Loops is going to walk away, doesn't want to dive the tower, which I think is good. Was that a tower tonight? No, tower was destroyed by the Dire, so they do manage to pick up the tower and force HMS down. This is looking like it's going to be a longer game than the last one. A little bit less snowbally here at the 10-minute mark. Boots are coming out for Medusa. Booty Stank does have his boots as well, so going to be trying to get a Blink Dagger. And the Ember Spirit does drop to the solo to the Phantom Assassin. So, Phantom Assassin, who started out getting free farm, has now been fed a solo kill, which is unfortunate. And they're just going to keep this tri lane up. There's not a lot they can do. They're going to need... oh, Stone Gaze does come out, and it is going to manage to block it on the Bristleback, but Shadow Word just doing too much damage. It's almost going to bring him down to 40 health. One more auto attack, and that would have been it. This is going to have to back real quick. Top lane, Fruit Loops does manage to get doesn't manage to get the last tower, but does manage to make sure it falls to her team. Blink Strike, Starter is gonna pop his. Ooh, ouch! Is gonna pop his sprint and run away. Mid, looks like we might see another kill coming out. Nope, looks like all the spells are used. Just Nightmare and wait. It's just going to continue to pressure this bottom tower, and I mean until they do, why stop? Not they're forcing the Medusa, who's fairly very far behind, to just kind of sit there and wait. Now, she has managed to pick up 44 last hits at the 13-minute mark, which isn't ideal, but it's also not terrible. Oh, and there's the golem drop. We get the fatal bonds. Oh, it's actually cancelled! And second try, there we go. We do the stone gaze coming out, and it is going to lock up too. Did you manage to pick up the bristleback? Unfortunately, Medusa's taking a lot of damage from this golem, as the flaming fists are now pure damage. And so they do manage to pick up 2 kills. Good fight coming out from them, from HSM. And that is on the bristleback and the warlock. So that's going to be a good amount of golden experience going to their couple of their cores. The Slardar was there as well. But I think the real problem is this PA, who 13 minutes has Phase, a Bassi, and a Perseverance, as well as a Claymore in the bank. So she's just probably gonna have a her Battle Fury here at 16 minutes, I would say. So Phase Battle Fury at 16 is very good. I imagine she'll probably go for a quick Vlad's after that. I think that's an excellent item. Bounty Room picked up by the Slardar. Looks like PA is rotating in. They are chasing down Vanessa Van Cleavage. Oh, manages to dodge the dagger, gets the string chains on 2. That is going to be a quick drop from on the Coddle, but PA managed to crit down the Ember Spirit, and Super Juice Box goes down as well. But PA is showing that early farm off. Oh, Long Dawn Dingles looks like he's going to be caught out, and that is going to be his reincarnate. That is his long one. So, and I think he's just going to die again. Yep, Fiend Script comes out, and there's nothing they can do. Easy kills coming out on the side of Serial Killers, and that's the PA's Battle Fury completed. Just needs to get it out to her now. And I think they're going to want to set up on a push on this. Bristleback does have a Vit booster, so is going to be going for the Vanguard into a... Oh, Stone Gaze comes out, gets Mystic Snake on quite a few. The Bane does drop to the Medusa, but looks like that's all it is. Right, as I was saying, a Crimson Guard coming out for the Bristleback eventually, I assume. They're gonna know when she has. Oh, it just wore off. I was gonna say they were gonna know when she gets her Battle Fury up and running, but see. And I think one thing I'd like to point out is HSM has been doing a much better job of keeping vision up on their side of the map. A lot of their wards are defensive right now, but at least they have them up. And now, as well as Serial Killers has continued to be doing a good side. Ember Spirit goes on Captain Crunch mid, unable to bring him down. Meanwhile, the Fruit Loops picks up a kill on the Medusa. Ember Spirit's trying to run away. He's only got 200 health, bottling up, and they do bring down the PA. The Wraith King and the Slardar and the Venge able to chain the stuns and bring her down. And so, all in all, 1-for-1 exchange, which I think favors the side of HSM as the PA is so far ahead. But Golem was dropped, and probably going to see this used to do a fair bit of damage to this tower. Looks like they still want to defend. Bristleback's moved in here and is doing some damage as well, but the creep wave is keeping them back. The Slardar illusions come in, and this tower's only going to drop to about half health. Moose, in the meantime, is going to go push out bottom lane, which I think is a very good choice. So, Ember Spirit maxing Sleight of Fist over the searing chains, which I think is alright. Especially when you're trying to quell these early pushes. You have to be able to get out some damage and still remain safe while doing it. And so the pings coming out on the side of HSM, they know where serial killers are. They are pushing, trying to rotate down to the Medusa, but she's got a nice little ward up up here, which is going to keep her safe. And they are looking to go. Ember Spirit does Remnant in, gets the Searing Chains on the Bristleback, Bristleback turns around. But with that amplified damage, they're able to burn through him, and they manage to bring him down nice and quick. Good plays coming up from HSM. And Jericho's are going to have to back off. But there's a bit of a stack here, which is good. Medusa can go farm that up. And she's going for a Manta style, I believe. Now, whether it's a straight into the Manta style or she's just going to keep it as a Yasha to try and help herself farm for a little bit, I'm not sure. I think there's benefits to both. The other thing she could, I think that's probably what she should do, as trying to save up for a Scotty at the current pace of the game would be very, very difficult. Meanwhile, PA is going for, I assume that's going to be a BKB, but it always surprises. It might be a Desolator, where if PA gets a Desolator, that's going to be an unreal amount of physical damage coming out. As you can see how quickly she already cleans up all these camps. Meanwhile, mid lane, we do have a, looks like the Bane's ultimate was used to hold down the Ember Spirit, but Slardar was there to bail him out. Booty Stank does have enough for his Blink Dagger, and he's going to pick it up. So look for, hopefully they'll be able to get some more pickoffs and initiations like that in the future. Which, now if they can keep rotating and doing this, I think they'll be able to bring the game back. It's not that far in favor of serial killers yet. And as you can see, they already are managing to bring it back if you look at the experience and the gold dip changing there. And so they just need to be able to keep rotating, keep getting these pickoffs without trading too much away. But as long as, even if they're trading evenly, I think they're still doing all right. Bristleback is going to go in, so is the Coddle, but the Medusa throws out the Stone Gaze, and as the rest of the team rotate in, that is an easy pickup. Oh, Fruit Loops blinks in, gets a crit. Is she going to be able to bring it down? Is the RNG with her? Oh, Wraith King's ultimate goes down. They need something to stun to lock down this PA, and they managed to get it before she can crit too many more times. PA almost with the big plays. RNG just not quite on her side, and HSM pick up an excellent fight. Only using the Wraith King ultimate, which they're more than happy to trade away for that. So good plays coming from them, managing to turn serial killers' attempt to go on the Medusa against them. And Medusa does have 3,400 gold now saved up. So what I had said before about going straight into the Scotty over the Manta style, I think going straight for the Scotty right now would be an excellent choice. Now that you finally got the gold, one more ultimate orb and you're there. See what she decides to go for. Oh, Lincoln's. You know what? I think that's fine as well. It's another defensive item. It'll prevent it'll help prevent the Bane from feeding scripting you, as well as PA from blink striking you and a few other things. But it's unfortunately easily broken this game, as the Bristleback can break it, the PA can break it with dagger and then blink just as easily as we just saw there. Phoenix Script coming out into Booty Stank, and the rest of Serial Killers is there. They get a nice amount of links with the Fatal Bonds, and Booty Stank just blows up. And they're going to turn this into a mid lane push. Pops the Medusa ultimate, which is an interesting choice. Managed to get some slows, but no one locked in place. And now they're going to have to back. Crits come out from Fruit Loops, and they do bring down the Medusa. Stun coming out from Long Dong Dingles, but no follow-up coming. And here again, we're seeing that sustain. Captain Crunch just keeping everybody alive with Shadow Word, and Cornflake keeping Captain Crunch's mana, as well as the rest of his teams, at full. And this is going to be a tier 1 mid dropping on the side of Fruit Loops. And it is a BKB coming out on the side of Fruit Loops, which I think is good. A lot of stuns and other things to go through it. So, they do fourth their tier 2. And we'll probably look to see Fruit Loops back. Slardar is in the area, looking for someone to blink on, but Fruit Loops is able to just blink away to his ally. Lots of pings coming out. Still no one's decided to go for Roshan, which I think HSM, or sorry, serial killers have an excellent lineup to do Roshan at this point in the game. They can tank it with the Bristleback, who's got his Vanguard up and going, as well as with the Warlock heal. Can easily keep it going. Um, and then the Viscous Nasal Glue to bring down the armor is quite effective. Plus PA can dish out a lot of damage as well. Top lane, we do have PA just farming away. Lardar's in the area but decides to back. Got another belt of strength there. Wonder if he's building into a Heaven's Halberd. Would be my guess. Interesting they decide to block that camp. Got some wards out. They're gonna look to go on this Ember Spirit, and he does Remnant away. Stone Gaze popped by the Medusa, and she's gonna go 1v4 on these guys. Does manage to freeze a few. Ember Spirit Remnant's in, doesn't manage to get it on a few, but that's about it. Slaughter comes in with the Blink Stomp, but nice Illuminate Blast coming out from the Keeper of the Light, but quickly 3 fall down, and they get the stun on Super Juice Box onto Cornflake, and so that is an easy, a nicely played 4-for-0 coming out on the side of Cornflake, or it's not Cornflake, on the side of HSM. Phantom Assassin with her BKB does pop it and decide to go on Vanessa Van Cleavage, but Dagger, Blink Strike, looking for a crit. And is she gonna be able to pick it up? I wonder who canceled their TP. They could have helped. Interesting choice there, but I just left the Ember Spirit for dead. But managed to dodge some with the Sleight of Fist. And HSM is finally able to push down a lane. Oh, Long Dawn Dingles, you want level 11 so bad. But so far it's a tier 1 for a tier 2, which I mean, at this point, HSM is going to be happy with getting that tower. That's going to help them out a fair bit. Net worth is starting to pull back in favor, and with these team fights that are coming out, the serial killers, the only hero farming effectively for them is the PA. They don't really have anyone else farming. Everyone else is usually grouped up looking for some sort of an engagement, which after losing the last 2 engagements so drastically, I think is they're going to have to sit back and maybe make a play, smoke into Roshan, or something along those lines. And then go for another push, if that's what they want to do. But again, Captain Crunch, he's got golems up, Bane's got everything up. Tricks, interesting choice on the Bristleback. Goes Vanguard into another Vitality booster. Not too sure. Usually, I would say going for the Crimson Guard would be a lot better in this situation, as it would take 50 damage off of each of Medusa's split shots.
Radiant's mid tower's coming apart.
Hello. Hello, there we go. Things should be good now. That was a poor mistake I made, but oh well, such is the noobness of casting. Anyways, back to it. So where was I? Fruit Loops is still managing to farm fairly well. It looks like she's going for a Basher, I would say, which is I think is a very good choice. Get a proc and lock somebody in place, and they're able to just burst them down, get another hit or 2 off. Meanwhile, Medusa did pick up her Lincolns, which I think is in the right direction. The extra health and regen, and just overall sustain, I think is very much needed on the side of her, and able to push out these lanes. Ember Spirit, is he even thinking about a Battle Fury yet? He's got enough for the Claymore, but these Battle Furies from him aren't going to be coming out for a long time. He does have his drums up and running now, though.
Radiant's bottom tower sight.
Slardar does manage to find the Warlock and just stuns him and runs away. Not gonna bother going for
Radiant's bottom towers see better
anything more on
days.
that. Sorry about that. Fruit Loops is
Regeneration.
it should be fixed now. Yeah, it does now have the Basher picked up. So I imagine they'll look to push. I'm still surprised they haven't bothered to go do Roshan. I don't know if either of these teams are just not worried about it, but nothing seems to be coming out at all from on their side. Medusa in the meantime is still farming and oh, and off to the side we hear a Golem dropped on the Ember Spirit. They didn't want him to get away. They also used the Fiend's Grip. And nothing else coming out on the side. I think that is the Bristleback being called in. No. Buck's just pushing in the top lane. That's three ultimates used. I guess the Coddles doesn't really matter, but used just to get an Ember Spirit. Now that is an important kill, but now they don't have these to push the tower like they wanted to. Bristleback does go in a little bit, kind of harassing. And here comes the push onto the tower now. Golem's only got about 15 seconds left, so there'll be a couple seconds after the glyph where he can bang on the tower.
Radiant's mid tower could use a hand.
Sorry, Skype message popping up. And looks like with the sustain, they're just going to push this out. Coddle does have a mech as well, so if the team fight breaks out, he's got that extra little bit. And they kind of just have to let the tower go. Talisman of Evasion, so I think that's a good choice to pick that up against the PA. Even if you can't build that directly into a butterfly very quickly, it still gives you a lot of effective HP, as it were. Like, hopefully, especially now with the bash, it's very important to not get hit. Finally, they're starting to look at Roshan. The only thing is they've got a ward here, so the Radiant does know that they're there. Ember Spirit does throw in a Remnant. We can see if anyone decides to go in there. Bottle's got a haste rune. Just looking at pushing down. The Warlock is going for an Ags Scepter, unless he decided to go S and Y and just buy those first. So hopefully it's an Ags. But we do have a Blink on the Wraith as well. Super Juice Box is looking at a 4-staff, which is a really good item on Venge. Fortunately, oh, Slight, they do manage to pick up the Bristleback, swap him back, stun, second stun, chain together, and they do manage to burst him down. That amplified damage really helping out. Ember Spirit goes in, managed to get a Searing Chains on both, and they managed to bring him down. This is Venge and the Slaughter, each picking up a kill. Excellent play coming up from there. They quickly pick off 3, and that's another large gold swing in their favor. I want to say they're now ahead. Almost, not quite. They'll be very close after this. But it's basically back to 0 now. Minus the tower. Now, if they manage to take a few towers off of this, take a couple of the tier 1s, I think that they'll be back to an excellent place. Oh, Courier, what are you doing in there? Manages to get away. Roger goes and blinks back. And they're just going to slowly chip away at this tier 1. They do manage to ford it. PA is looping around. She does have an Invis rune. So we'll see what they decide to do. Unfortunately, all these heroes are fairly tanky. Medusa does have the stick charges as well. PA wants to go into Skeleton King, but he's level 11 with his Reincarnate. I don't think they'd be able to finish him off either. But she's gonna... Fruit Loops is gonna go and look and try and find a solo kill. We'll have to see what they decide to do. They might just back off. Still hunting. And there's interesting choice. Unfortunately, she doesn't know that Stone Gaze goes through BKB. That is, I want to say that's her 10-second charge. That was her 9-second charge. Kinda wasted. Oh, stun off onto Raisin Brand, followed up by the Wraith King. Amplified damage. Looks like they're not gonna go for it so far. Decided not to commit, which is alright. Medusa is getting close to the Eagle Song portion of her butterfly. Well, now just slowly pushing in the bottom lane. He's gonna farm, pick up some Ancients farm. But I would like to see one of these teams pick up a gem. The amount of map control that would secure for their team would be unreal, as there's wards all over the place in the Radiant jungle, and that's where most of the action's been.
This should make
Obs ward and sentry here. Unfortunately, that sentry is just outside of range of that Obs. So they're not going to know that they saw them rotating through the jungle. You can easily see Slardar's rotating in, does get the oh, he gets blinked onto, does get the stomp, sorry, the crush onto the PA. PA pops. Ooh, quick, big hits coming up from Fruit Loops there. Manages to burst down the Venge with a 1200 some odd crit. Blink coming out on the Ember Spirit again, looking for another crit. Does get the dagger crit. First hit bash. No follow up. Skeleton King is there and can blink in. But with the quick kill on the Venge, they'll be able to push down this tier 2. I won't finish it off, I want to say. And we'll probably see PA with an Abyssal Blade here any moment. She's got 3,800 gold. Probably running back to the Secret Shop to pick it up. Figures my team can chip down this tower without me. We just go pick that up.
Trouble brewing.
Finds a bounty rune on the way. Never a bad thing. Multiple TPs coming in from the Ember Spirit, and the Stone Gaze is used. Golem was already dropped. Bristleback gets slapped, and he's gonna go down. And he does finally drop. Raisin Brand getting very low. Unfortunately, the burn from the Ember Spirit is gonna kill him, even though he was stunned. Captain Crunch does go down as well. Unfortunately, the PA was nowhere to be found in that fight. Again, taking a HSM taking another big fight when the most important hero on the other team is nowhere to be found. Looking for the net worth chart. There it is. So, PA unsurprisingly is topping the chart, but Medusa's caught up very well. And we're starting to get into the point of the game where Medusa's got some items. And is going to be looking to go. Medusa's got her butterfly finished, so PA's going to have to go in for a Monkey King bar if she wants to be able to kill this Medusa now. The amount of extra armor and effective HP from the dodge chance is huge. He is chasing the Ember Spirit and he is going to blink away. He does also have a Battle Fury now. That just makes pushing uphill that much harder. And the Wraith King's got 2,300 gold, Super Juice Box. Doesn't quite have the Force Staff, getting close. Slardar does pick up that Heaven's Halberd I mentioned earlier, which is an excellent pickup up against the Medusa. Or sorry, not the Medusa, the PA. Now, I wonder. Yeah, so the thing, if Slardar gets PA disarmed before she BKBs, it will not the BKB will not remove the disarm, as it can't be purged. Ember Spirit Sleight of Fist going to come through, and that's going to be a fair bit of damage. Oh, she blinks in, gets the crit. Oh, and blows up the Slardar. She's going down, and they get the first hit bash on the Ember Spirit as well. That's a quick 2 dead, and where's the rest of HSM? They got caught without TPs. They're coming in. This is going to be a lot of damage done to this tier 3. Medusa pops her Stone Gaze. PA decides to go in. Maybe that wasn't the best choice. Gonna get slept up, stunned, hoping for some crits here. But Medusa's very tanky and the misses are coming out. PA gets stunned by the Venge and the Wraith King. And, oh, manages to blink to safety. No, picked off by the Venge, Wave of Terror. And so, did manage to get the Wraith King on his second life. Oh, no, didn't have the mana, so his ulti wasn't used. So he'll have it up when he respawns. Which, honestly, I think is for the best. But not quite able to push high ground. And if HSM hadn't been so caught so far out like that, I think that would have been an easy defend for them. The PA, not realizing how tanky the Medusa was going to be, just went right in. BKB was unfortunately kind of wasted as she got slept again. Medusa does pick up another 2200 gold, and I imagine this will be looking for a Scotty. Just tank up in general. I did the math on Scotty for Medusa once, and I want to say it's almost 2000 effective HP just between the amount, just for the amount of mana for the mana shield and just raw HP. I want to say it's about 2000 health, more health for her when it's all said and done, which is a ridiculous amount for an item. Medusa just gets so tanky, but with the mana shield, and now that it blocks 60% instead of 50, it's crazy hard to bring her down late game. We'll have to see what she decides to go for, but I think it'll be good. And I really think that serial killers, they need to go and try and take out this Roshan, who's they kind of poked at him once, but they haven't touched him since. If they want to keep pushing it like this and trying to take fights, they're gonna need some sort of advantage, because if you look at the kill score, 24 to 16 now, in a game where HSM were a fair ways behind, they've managed to bring it back. First Spirit is going in here, probably gonna throw it. Yep, just throwing a Remnant in, checking Roshan out. Slardar doesn't have anything else yet. I imagine we'll maybe want to see an Assault Cures coming out on him, as I don't think the Wraith King will get to it anytime soon. Manticile is picked up by the Medusa. Okay, so not as much effective HP as the Scotty, but I think it's just as good to pick up at this point as it is trying to go for that. Opens up a slot, can purge a couple of the debuffs off of himself, or maybe dodge a few things. But it also gives him that extra push potential, as if you have Split Shot active when you manta, illusions will have Split Shot as well. So a good item to push, and all around just in general, just a solid item for this hero. He's doing a fair bit of damage now. Ember Spirit, it's got 1800 gold in the bank. I'm wondering if he's going to be going for a Chrysalis or a second Battle Fury. We'll have to wait and see. Trix is going for a Heart now. Didn't end up finishing the Crimson Guard, which I think was a bit of a mistake. Oh, Blink Crush coming out from Booty Snatcher, followed up by the stun from Long Dong and a stun from the Venge, and they managed to pick up the Bristleback. That amplified damage coming out from the Slardar, I think, is the answer to this Bristleback. I think that was an excellent draft choice, and they've made it work really well. The minus 20 armor is just ridiculous. That will put, I want to say, every hero on the side of serial killers into the negative. The only hero that it might not is the PA. No, it'll even put the PA into the negative. And Bristleback, with the build he's gone, doesn't have much armor. He's just got a lot of health. No actual armor to make him super tanky, and when he's stunned for that long, all the heroes he's up against can turn around and get in front of him, so they don't even have to worry about it. Dagger coming out, blink crit. Is he able to pick it up? Needs it. One more. 1530 damage coming out from Fruit Loops. Doesn't able to bring it down. An unfortunate remnant coming out from Van Cleave. Does manage to get up there. Not sure if this is something you want. Disarm coming out from the starter. Crush coming out on Fruit Loops as well, and the anti-armor just brings her down. So a good play, not worth coming out again for the side of serial killers. And HSM has done an excellent job of keeping themselves in the game and repelling these pushes. And they have a much better hero for it this time. Unfortunately, in the last game, the Medusa was banned out, so they couldn't pick it up. And the Drow just doesn't have that same kind of turtle effectiveness, which I think is... This is working out very similar up until this point when they started winning team fights as it was last game. Morphling isn't fitting invis. Does almost have an Ag Scepter. And HSM think that they're strong to push. And I mean, they're ahead for the first time in the game on both gold and XP. Why not? Ember Spirit manages to go forward, gets the Warlock. He does get the stun off. 2 golems are down. We do have the Mana Leak coming out onto the Ember Spirit. Does get stunned out. Wraith King is running away. Stun onto the Bane. Phoenix Grip's not yet used. The tower does go down to the Medusa in the meantime. She's still got Stone Gaze up and running. Ember Spirit cleaving through. Medusa, again, just cleaning up these golems. And that's Warlock golems down. They could either rotate top or go head to Roshan. They decide to rotate top and push up the lane. They're gonna try and catch this Bristleback, but I don't think it's gonna work. Yeah, they decide not to. Medusa has just some teleport scrolls. Did pick up a Demon Edge. That's going to be the build up to her Monkey King bar, which once she gets that, this PA is going to be having a tough time. She does have an Assault Curious coming out, only about 500 some gold away, and when that happens, that'll be a huge boon for her team. The Slardr's amp damage will not be that effective against her relative to what it is now, and it'll also help out the rest of her team a fair bit. Um, I really think the Bristleback should have gone for the Crimson Guard. That the guard armor and minus 50 damage block would have been a lot of help, as well as helping him out as well. Because base Bristleback doesn't have much armor. He's only got 6 by himself, 8 when he's near the Warlock, but it's just not that much. I'd like to see the Warlock maybe pick up a Vanguard, not a Vanguard, sorry, a Vlad's, as it would give the PA and the Bristleback some lifesteal and just a lot more general tank for the entire team when trying to deal with the split shot. As that is starting to hit very hard. Slardar does have a plate mail, so that could be a Shiva's, or it could be a AC. We'll have to wait and see what it says for. Smoke coming out on the side of HSM, which I think is good. First focus, and they are going to find the Bristleback if they want him. Smoke broke, but they didn't see where, and there it is. Swap, stun, Wave of Terror coming out, Searing Chains as well. Bristleback being controlled up. Oh, Fruit Loops manages to come in with the Blade Mail on, gets a big crit. Brings down the Wraith King's first life. Medusa pops her ulti, manages to hold her in place. The Warlock does go down. And the Fiend's Grip onto the Slardar. Not quite able to finish out. Oh, it does go down in the end. But it wasn't enough. Excellent Medusa ult coming out there with the Stone Gaze, managing to lock in 2 or 3. Fortunately, the Bane was too far away, but they managed to pick up the PA, and now they're going to push bottom. Ember Spirit leaps forward, gets the chains on Cornflakes. Sleight of Fist, and he does go down. Crit there coming out from the Chrysalis that he's picked up. So that's a full 5 wipe. Ultra kill coming out for the Medusa. That's a huge deal. And no buybacks are ready on the side of Serial Killers. This is going to be a tier 2. This is going to be a tier 3. Possibly Rax if they don't, depending on how fast this goes down. I think as soon as this goes down, you go straight for the range. No, they're going to go straight for the melee Rax. This is going to be a full lane of Rax. Easy. And I think that might be the beginnings of the end for Serial Killers in this game that they had control of early. They had a PA who was double the farm of anyone else on the map, and they just tried to push it when they couldn't and gave up some fights. The Medusa being an excellent turtling hero, and some very nice plays coming out from all players on the side of HSM, able to lock down key heroes and just give them the sustained lockdown in team fights that they needed in order to take the fight. Medusa's MKB just count. She's still got 4,300 gold in the bank. I think this will be a Aegis for the Ember Spirit. Yeah, as he's not quite as tanky. He's almost got enough to finish off his Daedalus as well. He only needs about 200 more gold, and I think it'll be pushed down mid then. We'll see what Medusa wants to go for. Maybe now. Probably pick up that Scotty now. I would say I don't see any reason to. She's hitting plenty hard, and that would just give her a very large amount of health, effective HP. we talked about before. Yay does have the Assault Curious now, so she's going to be doing a lot of damage. Because that's one thing we didn't talk about is the armor on the side of HSM. Is the Starter has a lot of it. The Ember Spirit's got a decent amount at 9, but it's not that much to write home for. Medusa's too tanky to even talk about, but oh, and that is the Wraith King is going for an Assault Curious, so he has managed to find some farm. Booty's Stank looks like he must be going for a Shiva's, which I think is good. Blink, Shiva's Crush, excellent in these fights. More AoE damage, which is what HSM are between the Ember Spirit Cleave, the Medusa Split Shot. They can do a lot of damage just to the entire team at once. Look, even Bristleback's taking a little bit of damage there from the Cleave. I believe Caudle has picked up his Scepter now. Yeah, he has. So that is another big heal coming out there, as the way the Caudle ult works now is Illuminate does heal for 75% of its damage done. Super Juice Phalanx does have that Force Staff, might pick up a Blink, probably saving for buyback. We'll have to see. Just kind of a all on the side of HSM now. The Aegis will expire here in a few minutes. We got 2 or 3 minutes left on it before it goes down. But who knows? I can check. So yeah, the Aegis has got just under 3 minutes left by the clock. So that's the first 2 minutes after it falls. Up to here is where they have it, and then from here to here is the downtime between, and then anytime from here to here is when it can respawn. Mid lane, looks like we're just gonna see a little poking and shoving. Nothing quite coming out yet. So Fruit Loops, sorry, not Fruit Loops, Serial Killers as a whole, they kind of seem a little out of sorts. They're not sure what to do. They haven't been moving around trying to find pickoffs in a while yet. Meanwhile, Ember Spirit is going to go in. He gets the Searing Chains on 2. Slaughter brings in, crushes onto Fruit Loops. Wraith King's Stun does follow up, and they do manage to burst down the PA. PA does have buyback. Ember Spirit comes out, gets some crits, and brings the rest of them low. Very nice Stone Gaze comes out, manages to pick up 2 more, and they're going to be able to get Cornflake on the Keeper of the Light. Buyback is up on Keeper of the Light. Trix does manage to run away. BKB popped on, who's that, the PA, but at this point I'm not sure it's going to matter. The Medusa is just so tanky, and the PA isn't getting the dodges she needs. Aegis is burnt on the side of the Ember Spirit, and they're chasing down this Fruit Loops, but no, looks like the Medusa knows what she wants, and that's to push high ground. And Captain Crunch calls GG, so that's going to be the game.
Mid tower could use a little help.
And a nice game victory comeback words for the side of HSM. They do manage to bring it back. The gold graph was disappeared on me before I could take a look at it. But an excellent play coming up from them. Thanks for joining me for the cast, guys. You can follow me at Twitter at WolfDota, on the channel here as well. Feel free to check it out. I will have VODs up on YouTube if you missed the first game and feel like watching it. But other than that, thanks for joining me and have a good one.